Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Namaste Experience. I am here on the beach for a couple of days, but so happy I could be here to share with you as well. Today, we have a beautiful story that I want to share. But before we do, I was just thinking as we were doing the prayer for the awakened, that one line, the infinite love that is my source, the infinite love that is my very source. Imagine that just for a moment. Sometimes these can be just words that we say every morning, but when we really tune in to what that's really saying, my source is infinite love. Where I came from, what created me was infinite love itself. To me, that has so much more potency than just saying I was created by God. Well, what is God? God is this idea that we have of something out there. But I think we've all come to the realization that there's nothing out there. There's this infinite source of wisdom within that's always moving through and as me, not in an individual egoic way. It has nothing to do with James or Andrea or Prem or any of us in a personal way, but the impersonal nature of divinity, all in all. It includes everything. That infinite source of love is where we all come from, the creative force that brought us into being, and where we are always moving. We're moving within that infinite source every moment. I was just thinking about that as we were sharing the prayer for the awakened a few minutes ago. The potency of that infinite love, and to know that that is my source. And yet I can imagine another source. I can imagine another way of being. I can imagine whatever I choose to imagine, but that doesn't make it so. In fact, our parable today is all about that. So I think what I'll do is I'll just share the story that we have that I wrote last night. And I think you're going to be able to relate to this. So we'll talk about it for a few minutes afterwards, but see how much you can relate. This is called a long-necked zebra. How many of you sense your true identity stirring within you as if you're waking up to who you really are? No one in the group had heard Mother approach. And when they turned to the sound of her voice, they were overwhelmed with joy. Many of them were new to the ashram and had only seen Mother on the platform during evening satsang. So the chance to see her and to even interact so closely was a gift they did not expect. I think I feel it now, a young man said. I felt it the instant I stepped through the ashram gates. And what did that tell you? Mother asked. What did it feel like to have this sudden rush of insight? It was the most exhilarating experience of my life, the young man said. I don't ever want to leave in fear of losing the love I feel here. Mother smiled, as if pleased with the answer. Then she sat down in a chair beneath a great willow tree and said, I'd like to tell you a story that will help you feel this even deeper. In the heart of a lush jungle, a newborn giraffe was separated from its family and wandered into a herd of zebras. Assuming that the giraffe was lost, the herd adopted the zebra, or adopted the giraffe, and the giraffe, adopted the giraffe, and the giraffe grew up forgetting its true identity, thinking itself to be a zebra with the longest neck in history. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, the young giraffe, now fully integrated into the zebra herd, embraced his new identity with gusto. He frolicked with the other zebras, his long neck towering above them, earning him the title of the long-necked zebra among his companions. Despite the differences in appearances, the giraffe felt a deep sense of belonging with the zebras. He grazed alongside them on the sweet grasses of the savannah, and he galloped with them across the open plains, his heart filled with joy and contentment. But deep within the recesses of his heart, a nagging feeling lingered, a sense of something unspoken, something that didn't quite fit with the reality he knew. He would often gaze wistfully at the distant horizon, longing for something beyond the confines of the herd. How many of you have felt that same longing? How many of you have felt the sense that who you think you are is not the reality that you truly are? That there's something bigger, greater, something different inside you other than the so-called reality that you're living in, the herd that you're living in. I'm sure one way or another we can all relate to that. One day, as the giraffe wandered alone on the outskirts of the savannah, he stumbled upon a group of majestic giraffes grazing in the shade of a towering acacia tree. At first, he regarded them with curiosity. But as he watched them interact with one another, a sense of recognition stirred within him. With a sudden rush of realization, the giraffe understood the truth of his identity. He was not a zebra with an exceptionally long neck, but a giraffe destined to roam the open plains and reach for the stars with his lofty aspirations. Filled with a newfound sense of purpose, the giraffe bid farewell to the zebras who had become his family and ventured forth to embrace his true heritage. Though he may have been separated from his kin for a time, he knew that the bonds of love and belonging transcended the boundaries of species. And as he joined his fellow giraffes beneath the canopy of the acacia trees, his heart swelled with gratitude for the journey that had led him home, reminding him that his true identity lies not in the circumstances of one's birth, but in the courage to embrace the truth of who we are. The mother smiled and said, "You are my herd of giraffes who no longer think yourself to be zebras. Once you realize who you really are, you'll never be able to go back to your former herd, even though they loved and nourished you. Now that you know that you are home, nothing else will ever satisfy you again." With that, the mother stood and walked away, and the group of young people sat together in stunned silence. I like that story, and I think it describes who we are very well. Each and every single one of us has found the herd of giraffes where we really belong, and that does require a certain kind of separation from who we have claimed to be in the past. It doesn't mean a separation of love. It means a full integration into who we truly know ourselves to be. This one paragraph I'd like to read one more time. It says, "One day as the giraffe wandered alone on the outskirts of the savannah, he stumbled upon a group of majestic giraffes grazing in the shade of a towering acacia tree. At first, he regarded them with curiosity, but as he watched them interact with one another, a sense of recognition stirred within him." Maybe that's what you felt when you first came to Namaste or first came to be part of our morning sessions on Zoom or watching them on YouTube. Maybe you felt that same stirring, like I found my family. And it has nothing to do with dishonoring the family that raised you or the communities that you once shared. But now you have found a vibrant source of reality that you can claim and that has always claimed you. To know that I wasn't just an oddball. How many of us thought that we were the black sheep of the family, or that we were the odd one in the group? Probably most of us. We were all the long-necked zebras. And we just thought we were strange, that we were just the ones that had the super long neck. But then we found our community, we found our family, and something took root, something awakened in us. And here's the thing, and this is good news: you can't go back. There's no going back to that herd of zebras, because you've realized who you are, and you know where your family is, and that they accept you as part of this family of light. And that could be here at Namaste, that could be in your own communities. The important thing is to know that this is the moment that you chose to awaken to your true identity. We've all been wandering through the forest and the jungle for so long, thinking that we were something that we are not, thinking that we are weak or vulnerable or separate. But now we have come into a vibrant experience that we are one. We found our herd, and now we're going to live there and express that love for all eternity. So I think that's a good beginning. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Vicki now and let her take it from there. Good morning, Victoria.
Good morning, Brother James, and it's wonderful to see you at the beach and to see Sheila and everyone there with you. Good morning, everybody, and it's wonderful Friday. It's a great way to launch the weekend with infinite love. So I'll tell you, and some of you have heard me say this story before, just my own experience. You know, everyone in my world for many years used to say, oh, Vicki, she just collects lost souls. And they would kind of dismiss it. And I guess I did. I always collected what to the world looked like lost souls. But to our awakening mind, you recognize as those looking for real reality, for love, for love. And it's an infinite love. And it isn't a love that's romantic love or even parental love, as much as, you know, we might think of unconditional mother's love and the rest of it. It's beyond that. It's infinite love that when we touch it or when we know it in our mind, even if we haven't physically thought we experienced it, we recognize it. We might recognize it in the tone, you know, the tuning forks that you have of the I am consciousness. We might recognize the pitch of it. We might recognize it in nature or in an animal, but as sure as anything, we recognize infinite love and we immediately are pulled to it. It is a real, not gravitational pull down. It's a real pull that embraces us. That's what this is. This reality is above and greater and more spacious than our idea of what family is, what love is, what all the rest of it is. So for me, many, many years ago, I was in my maybe early 30s, late 20s. And, you know, I knew I had a vocation for some kind of religious life, spiritual life. And I used to sit and talk to Jesus, and I talked to this Indian chief. I called the chief. They were my kind of inner guides. And I would say, well, what am I going to do with this? It doesn't seem like there's any order that fits whatever I am. And I got very, very clear message that you will recognize your order. And in the meantime, and this before I found the Course in Miracles, I was just to love, basically love, and not look to put it in any category, but continue living in a world and do the rest of it, and did whatever I did. And then many, many years later, on a conference call that some of us from this room do, our dear brother, who's often in this room, Pierre was able for many years to speak to his guide called Marian Mel. And Marian Mel brought forth for him many of these experiences and passages of opening to this infinite love. And the last one that she brought through, and this I felt like was a personal gift to me, she brought through this experience that she called, would you like to join the order of infinite love? And that's what she called it, the order of infinite love that has no boundaries, that has no form, but is the full expression of who we are. And I see Linda in here and Judy in here, and many of us immediately, like that pitch of the tuning fork, we recognized, oh, that's our order. It's a label that fits into this, into the bodies that we find ourselves and the minds we find ourselves, that hits the pitch that's greater than the bodies we find ourselves or the world we find ourselves in. And it's very much what those that have walked into, crossed the threshold into Namaste Village or in any other holy spot, and we recognize that pitch of love. But the essence of it isn't that it's located particularly in form in any geographical spot. It's contained in our consciousness when we've released the fear and guilt that have kept our consciousness in zebra mentality. When we release that fear and guilt and we naturally ascend, that's what happens. We naturally ascend into the air, the breath, the experience of spaciousness, of love without boundaries, love without opposite. So we become the outpost, not just the little outposts all over in space and time where brothers have come together to live that way consciously, but each of us, wherever we are the order of that infinite love that's recognized itself and is willing to move and live only in that reality. What we've done most of the time is back and forth, sometimes in, sometimes out. But there's been such a calling, like a clarion call that has gone out to all of us to live fully in that all the time and to celebrate it and to live in love in whatever way is given to us, wherever we find ourselves. And that's exactly what we're doing. The healing that has come to help dismantle the veil of guilt and fear has served its purpose. All the workshops, all the books, all the traditions, all the rituals, they've been wonderful. They've been tools of joy that have helped melt away the hidden fears and guilt that we've all held and that now mostly have fallen away. And we're called today, we're called every day to take that identity of that I am consciousness, that lit consciousness, that consciousness of infinite love, and own it. We're not zebras running around in a contained environment. We are free. We're not the ugly ducklings. We are the beings of light. And it's a simple acceptance. In our acceptance of ourselves as, whether you call it Christ or Buddha or the light or the I am, it's our simple acceptance without exception, without any condition, that indeed, just like today's lesson, those of you that, and thank you, Scott, for singing it so beautifully, we are the light of the world. No kidding. Just like that. It's like, okay, okie dokie, that's it. So right where you are, kick up your heels, celebrate. So, and how do we celebrate? We celebrate by loving each other. Like when Kathy came over the other day, oh my gosh, how much fun to have a brother step out of the box on the Zoom picture and into the living room, to the kitchen table. Kathy, thank you for that. Thank you so much for coming and leaving the grace of your flowers for my angels and for all of us here. But that's it. It's simply to accept it without exception. Accept, no exception, no matter what. It's that simple. And, you know, the zebra in us wants to sometimes go down into what's been comfortable and what we've been familiar with. And a lot of that familiarity has to do with restriction. So it takes a moment to breathe the air of freedom. And we breathe it best when we breathe together, because as I look around and see every face lit up, we're lit up. We're lit up with love. The order of infinite love is simply that. It's the willingness to accept that we are the love of God. God did indeed create us, and we are children, and that's good with us. If we fall down in the mud and when we're in the savannah and it's pouring and we're messy, so what? It's the land of, okay, no problem. I belong to love. That's it. Everyone belongs to love. And I see that in everyone and everything. And when trauma strikes or we see our sister or brother in problems, instead of rushing for our old solutions, we rush to immediate remedy in our hearts and minds that each one belongs to love. Nothing to worry about. There's no dream sequence that can get in the way of infinite love. If I accept it as my reality and my brother's reality. That's the ticket home. Recognizing it in my brother as well as in myself, and rejoicing in it, enjoying it. Like the African tribe, the purpose of our life is to enjoy ourselves. That's the light of the world. And it looks different every minute. And it's wonderment that we walk around and see, I don't know what it's going to look like next. But right now, it looks like us right here together with lit up hearts and minds and faces and lives that are free, and that whatever the shackles of fear and guilt that are still clinging, don't worry, we'll bump into them. But when we bump into them, we don't have to fight with them. We just, it's just another bump, and it's just another fear attack that isn't so. I belong to love. That's my only identity. In that, I am the love and the light of this world. That's simple. Let's help keep it that simple. And thank you, everybody, for coming every day to do this together. I love you all. I love you, James. I love you all. And I thank you all. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Vicky. Doesn't it feel wonderful to be back with your herd of giraffes and to know that you belong in a way that you can't even begin to explain, a way that doesn't even make sense, but you feel the belonging, like I am home. There's nothing like that. I hear people express that all the time at Namaste Village. They arrive there and they just have this immediate sense of I am home. And what that really means is I recognize that I am amongst the teachers of God, as it would say in the Course. And I'm amongst the people, the souls that have chosen to awaken now. We're not holding back. We're not waiting for another lifetime. We're not thinking that there's still things left for me to do or to accomplish. There's nothing left for any of us to accomplish except to awaken to the reality that is forever real, to remember who we are, who we've always been, that we are one with God, and that we are still as God created us. There's nothing else. And this is the moment that we decide that, and that is our return to the herd of giraffes that we seem to have left for just a moment, but in reality, we never left at all. So welcome home, everyone. It's so good to know that we are back in the herd. We are here to celebrate and to open our eyes and see one another exactly as God sees us. Now, that being said, I have a question for those of you at Namaste. Ravi, would you please unmute your microphone real quick and let me know when you're unmuted?
Okay.
Okay, is Azuri there?
Not yet.
She's not. Daphne, will you go see if her car is there? We may have to just wait and do this in another moment. I know she was on. So Azuri, just so you know, has been the manager at Namaste for over 2 years, probably 2.5 years now. And you have no idea what a great job she does, because we have grown so much, and she's the one who keeps it all together and knows. She's the part of my brain that knows what's going on. So is she there? I hear some people say no, and I hear some people say yes.
No. Not
It's
yet.
not there. Okay, well, on the recording, I'm just going to go ahead and end it. We love you all. Thank you so much. The rest of you, go ahead and hang out here for a minute. Hold on one second.